parties will prepare for and participate in good faith? Yes. In scheduled settlement conferences? Yeah. 1 week prior to the scheduled settlement conference? Yeah. Each party shall file a settlement statement in the form substantially similar to? Yes. The pattern form set forth in Exhibit A. The settlement statement is intended? Yes. To provide the narrative? And documentary information necessary to inform the court and the opposing party of the submitting party's position on the major issues to be resolved. Yes. The settlement statement will not be filed in the court file, but the original will be provided to the judicial officer conducting the settlement conference. Yeah. With a copy provided to the opposing party or his or her attorney. Yes. Now, since she's the pro se litigant, yes, she had to use 10 days to serve me, inclusive of my 10 days to serve her, plus the necessary time between the time that I receive it, yes, and the time that I pay for service of it, yes, and then 1 week before the actual settlement conference setting hearing. Now, the court has probably found that if both parties fail to provide the settlement statement 1 week prior to the scheduled settlement statement, the court will issue an order which strikes the settlement conference. Yes. And directs the parties to appear before the court administrator to select a new settlement conference date. Now, for all those dissolutions of marriage that have restraint provisions, yes, and for all the dissolutions of marriage that have protection orders, yes, did the court ever consider that they actually need 27 days before the date of the settlement conference setting hearing to make sure that they can serve each other because they are restrained from being able to communicate? Well, why don't we just look through all those that have failed to provide the settlement statement? It's somewhat confusing. There's a lawsuit. You know, for all the pro se litigants that get frustrated with these experiences, yes, I know I'm frustrated too. I'm wanting to put in prison every person in law enforcement. Yes, I'm wanting to put in prison the employees of every school district. Yes, yes. I'm wanting to put in prison every mandatory reporter. Yes, that doesn't see that the obstruction of the due process, the due administration of justice, is that nobody takes in consideration the restraint provisions of protection orders. Now, of all of those that failed to provide, yes, a settlement statement 1 week prior to the scheduled settlement conference, the court shall issue an order which strikes the settlement conference, yeah, and directs the parties to appear before the court administrator to select a new settlement conference date. Now, if only one party fails to file the settlement statement 1 week prior to the scheduled, yeah, the court shall issue an order which imposes a sanction, yes, as in I'm going to be the sanctioned party, yes, because Heidi's going to pay the sheriff to serve me 1 week before, yes, settlement conference setting hearing. And then she's going to say, well, he didn't respond. Well, if she doesn't give me the 20 days necessary to receive it, yes, and then the 10 days necessary to serve her, inclusive of the 20 days, yes, it looks like all the respondents are being given black eyes because of the refusal to enforce the restraint provisions of protection orders. You're intentionally belittling these individuals that seem to be incompetent because they didn't realize that they have to pay $65. Now, I just want to know, of all of those, yes, that are failures, yes, that said, well, I got it a week before, but how do I serve her? Yes. It is frustrating, isn't it? Did you ever run into the sheriff's office or the police department and say, well, a week from now we're having a settlement conference setting here and I have to serve her right today so that I know that court rules were enforced. But now you got a sanction as the offending party, yeah, in the amount of $500 because the petitioner did not take into consideration the needs of the